All right, number 2, G and H. They want us to solve these. Now these answers have to be between 0 and 2 pi. So we're switching now, we're in radians. So we got to make sure we change our calculator. The first step is we have to get sine x alone. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. The next step is that we're going to do the inverse of sine, so that way I can switch the x into 3/4 and find out what x is. So I write that like this, and then I'm going to go to the calculator and I'm going to find out what the inverse of sine of 3/4 is. And I make sure that I'm in radians, and I go ahead and do this, and I get 0.848. So that's one of my angles. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph that very quickly, just a sketch, onto the unit circle. And I find out that it's going to be roughly here, and just to kind of get your bearings, 3.14 is going to be there. That's going to be about 1.56 radians. So clearly 0.8 is going to be inside the first quadrant. And if I'm going to have sine, I'm going to find another angle just like it across the y-axis. It's also going to have a 0.848 here. So this one's 0.848. This one is going to be pi minus 0.848. And again, just let the calculator do it. Don't overthink it. Pi minus 0.848 is 2.29, and that's my other answer. And then the last step is to check and make sure that I can't find more answers by adding, in this case, 2 pi, or subtracting 2 pi. And if I add or subtract 2 pi, it's going to go out of bounds, and so that's it. I'm done. Let's take a look at H. And H, same thing. We're going to follow similar steps. We have to get tangent x alone. In this case, we're just going to subtract 7. And then what we're going to do is divide by 5. And that gives me tan x is equal to negative 7 over 5. And then we're going to do the inverse again, and we're going to switch places. So I got the inverse of tan negative 7 over 5 is equal to x. We are going to use the calculator again to find our initial angle. Again, we're making sure we're in radians. We get a negative 0.9505. And now we do the same kind of thing. We're going to graph it. Actually, I take it back. You can graph it. But all we've really got to do when we're talking about a tangent is add or subtract 180 degrees. And so, I can do this and then go across diagonal, but it doesn't really make much difference. It's not a big deal. It's much easier just to add and subtract, in this case, pi, which is the same thing as 180 degrees. So negative 0.9505 plus pi is 2.191. And then I write that down. And then I add pi again. And when I do that, I get the answer 5.33. And clearly, if I add another 3.14, that's going to put me over 2 pi, which is 6.28. And so these are my only answers, and I'm done. All right, hope that helped. Thanks for watching.